On today's business news, Brian Quinn is with us. He's starting in the US. Looming government shutdown. There has to be one. Happens very regularly, doesn't it? Once again, threatening to inflict chaos on the American economy, Brian.
Very regular occurrence, isn't it, Stuart? Congressional leaders set to meet with President Donald Trump on Monday, one day before federal government funding is set to expire. They're seeking a short-term spending bill to keep the government running through mid-November. Republicans have offered a version of the bill that keeps federal spending flat at its current levels. Democrats, though, say that bill must extend federal subsidies for health insurance plans that are set to expire at the end of the year. Millions of Americans are preparing to renew their health coverage in November. The government has long subsidized premiums under the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. Democrats also insisting, though, that the White House and Republicans reverse cuts made to Medicaid and other health programs over the summer. Here's House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
Democrats are here in the Capitol, ready, willing, and able to sit down with anyone at any time and at any place in order to find a bipartisan path forward to fund the government, avoid a reckless Republican shutdown, and deal with the healthcare crisis that Republicans have created in the United States of America. It's because Republicans want to shut down the government, they want to continue to inflict pain on the American people, and they want to continue to gut the health care of everyday Americans.
Straight to the markets now then, Brian. What are we seeing?
Asian indexes mostly on the rise in Monday trade. The Nikkei in Tokyo, though, losing around 0.2%. That is in spite of a massive 36% spike in shares of Sony Financial Group on their first day of trading. The Kospi in Seoul recovering from losses on Friday over trade tensions as tariff negotiations between the South Korean government and the Trump administration continue. Here in Europe, major indexes in positive territory at the open, with the pharma sector gaining as giants like AstraZeneca expand their operations in the U.S. in a bid to avoid new tariffs. London, Paris, and Frankfurt all up around 0.33%. Investors are keeping a close eye on inflation after the latest U.S. data last week showed price rises accelerating in July. Analysts, though, say that higher inflation data was more or less in line with expectations, leaving the door open for more rate cuts from the Federal Reserve later this year. Let's take a listen.
The biggest potential headwind in the short term for markets is if the market starts to think that the Fed can't cut because of data improving in the economy and inflation getting worse. As long as inflation stays where it is and the data, regarding literally focusing on unemployment and employment data is a little questionable or revisions are negative, they will continue to be able to cut, which I think will bode extremely well for markets into the new year.
And finally, for business, Monday looks to be a pretty dark day. This is for many employees of Germany's largest airline group, Lufthansa.
Lufthansa administrative employees not happy about this. Investors might be happier about it. The company set to cut up to 20% of its administrative staff on Monday in a bid to cut costs amid falling profits. The Lufthansa Group, whose subsidiaries include Eurowings and Austrian Airlines, currently counts 103,000 employees. In a press release just posted to its website, the company says it will be cutting 4,000 admin jobs by the end of the decade through, quote, digitalization, automation, and process consolidation. Profits at Lufthansa have fallen from 7.5% in 2023 down to 4.4% last year. The company had targeted an 8% margin this year. That goal, though, has been delayed. Meanwhile, an ongoing labor dispute over pensions means that a fresh strike by pilots could be incoming. Lufthansa shares gained 3.5% on Friday as news of those cuts began to emerge. Those shares are up around 0.33% so far today. So bad news for the admin employees, but investors taking some encouragement from that news, Stuart.
I'm sure they are. Brian, thanks very much. Brian Quinn there with the business news.